palette is called Call of the Sirens and it's mermaid themed. They also came out with a face palette and it's called Mermaid Magic. Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, my name is Nat. As most of you know, I've been on a journey of trying out a bunch of indie brands and I've been having fun with it. I recently tried out Gourmande Girls and I fell in love with the palette. So when I heard that they were coming out with a new one, I just had to get it. This palette is called Call of the Sirens and it's mermaid themed. This is what she looks like. Pretty, right? They also came out with a face palette and it's called Mermaid Magic and it has 3 blushes and 3 highlighters. Let's get into some swatches. We're going to swatch the eyeshadow palette first and I'm going to go horizontally across and down. First up we have Spellcaster. Ooh, that's pretty. Then we have Unicorn. It's a soft, buttery matte. Next we have Sea Nymph. It's a nice teal. Then we have Lorelei. I think that's how it's said. This has an interesting shift to it. Can you see? Then we have Menagerie. A nice matte gray. Then we have Fairy. These mattes are so soft and smooth. Next is Moonlight. Kind of a darker mint matte green. Then we have Bewitch. Look at that. That's one swipe. Cool, right? Next up, we have Undersea. Then we have Starfish. What a nice purple. Then we have Elixir of Life. Whoa, cool. What a pretty shade. And then we have Seahorse. I find it interesting that they put one neutral brown in this colorful palette. And the last 3 shades are Femme, that's pretty too, Serene or Sirene, and lastly we have Lagoon. And here are the shades of the Call of the Sirens palette. It's so pretty. And now for the face palette, Mermaid Magic, I'm gonna go top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. First we have Strand. Ooh, that's pretty. And Temptress. Then we have La Mer. That's cool too. A little bit intimidating, but I'm excited to see what it looks like on the face. And Neptune. It's a nice lavender blush. And the last 2 shades of the face palette are Lagoon That's interesting too, right? And Seashell. Here are the shades of the face palette, Mermaid Magic. I'm going to do 3 looks so I can pair each look with a blush and a highlighter. Sometimes when we have a palette that's this pretty and colorful, it's a little intimidating as to where to start. And I think what I want to do with the 3 looks is to make color combos that either I normally wouldn't pair, or even just try to come up with looks that seem a little bit unexpected. For look number 1, I'm going to start with the shade Fairy and a eyeshadow 03. And I'm just going to start placing that color in my crease area using big windshield wiper motions. Same thing on the other side. I just want a soft wash of this shade up in my crease and brow bone area. And it's going on soft because of the brush that I'm using. If I were to use a denser, more of like a packing brush, the pigment would definitely be more intense. But that's not really what I'm going for here. Next, I'm curious to see what this gray matte Menagerie looks like. And I'm going to go in with a Rephr 01. I'm just going to pat down some color in the outer corner area just to see what this looks like. Same thing on the other side, starting in the outer corner. Just patting down some pigment and using some small circular motions to diffuse it up into the crease area. I may not have normally added this shade, but I think I wanted to test out all the shades of the palette just to see what they look like. I feel like these mattes blend well together. Now I'm going back in with my eyeshadow 03 in the shade Fairy. And we're just gonna put that at the top so we can see that pink pigment peek through. And same thing on the other side. Next, I'm gonna go in with the shade Starfish and eyeshadow 00. Just gonna pat this down in the outer corner first to see what the pigment looks like. Ooh, that's such a pretty shade. I think I'm gonna pull that across my lash line. And blend it up into the crease area. Let's pull this gently across towards the inner corner. Same thing on the other side. This is a very nice cool toned purple. And blending it up into the crease area. This could be pretty even just as a all matte look. Back to my Shoto 03 with no added product, and I just want to blend out this inner part. More blending with the Shoto 00. And I'm actually going to go back to my Shoto 03 and dip into more of the shade Fairy. And add that to the top edge. So for shimmers, I was going to see if this shade Undersea can go well with this look. So I'm just using my finger, and I'm going to pop this on the outer third of my eye. That's pretty. Maybe let's try half and see what this looks like. It's a bit of a chunky glitter. Same thing on the other side. And then I'm going to go in with the shade Elixir of Life. And we're just going to push this on the front. Oh wow, you guys see that? That is so pretty. So yeah, we're just putting it on the front half. And I'm going to take the leftover of the Undersea shade and just go back over. So, oh, that's cool too. So that it's gradient, so it doesn't look like it's two separate colors. I mean, it is, but the more we can blend it out and get it seamless, that's pretty. What do you guys think? Same thing on the other side. I'm just patting back and forth between the two shades, the Elixir of Life shade and the Undersea shade, just so that we don't have one hard line of where one shimmer meets the next. And I'm not even dipping into more product, I'm just using the leftovers that's on my fingers. It seems to be working out nicely. This one's a little high. I'm going to go back in with my Shoto 00 and the shade Starfish. I'm just going to pat that on the edge of where the matte and the shimmer meets. And same thing on the other side. I think I want to see if we can pull this nice deep cool tone purple. Yeah, I think I like that better. Just gives it a little bit more of a contrast and a background for the shimmers to stand out, I think. Same thing on the other side. Just gently pull across the top edge. And now I'm going to go back in with the shade Fairy and my Shoto 03 just to add some more pink to the top edge. And let's see what it looks like in the inner corner. These shimmers are impressive. Don't you think? I just applied concealer, bronzer, and set my face so we can finish up this eye look. I'm going to go in with a BK Beauty 204 in the shade Starfish. I'm just starting at the outer corner of my lower lash line. I'm going to pull it across gently, keeping the majority of this pigment at the outer corner. Same thing on the other side. And then I'm going to take my Shoto 00 with no added pigment, just so we can soften out and smooth it out. And now I'm going to take my Shoto 03 and the shade Fairy and just dust that on the lower edge of this eye look. I just did eyeliner and mascara off camera. I'm going to come in close to show you guys. This look would be amazing with false lashes as well. Now it's time for blush and highlighter. I think with this look, I'm going to try the center shades. They're kind of bright for what I'm used to, so we'll see what they look like together. I'm going to go in with an F05 from Singe Beauty and the shade Neptune. I'm just patting it on to see how intense or not intense the pigment is. It's pretty. I feel like it looks better on the face than what you would imagine when you look at it in the pan. What do we think about this shade? And now I'm going to take an F33 from ColourPop and dip into the shade La Mer and gently dust this on top as a highlight. Oh, that's kind of cool. Can you guys see that? Same thing on the other side. Wow, it actually looks better on the face than I thought it would. Now I'm curious just to see what a little bit of this shade Temptress would look like. I just want to put that right at the apples of my cheeks, I think. I think I like that better. And a gentle blend out. And there we have it. Here's look 1 of the Call of the Sirens palette. For look number 2, we're going to start off with the shade Moonlight and eyeshadow 04. We're just going to put this in our crease area, up into the brow bone. Focusing most of the pigment on the outer corner and gently blending it in towards the inner corner. And same thing, we just want a nice wash of color in the background. I actually forgot to mention that I got this palette and the Mermaid Magic face palette from ifeelbeautiful.ca. So the second shade we're going to use is the Sea Nymph shade, kind of teal matte, and I'm going to go in with a Rephr 01. Same thing, starting in our outer corner, I'm just going to pat down some of the pigment so we can see what it looks like on the eye. And gently blend it up into the crease area. These are pretty, pretty greens. Now I'm going back to the eyeshadow 04 with no added pigment, just to smooth out the edges. And gently drag some of the shade towards the inner corner. Let's deepen things up with the shade Lagoon and eyeshadow 00. Again, just patting the pigment down. Pulling it across my lash line. And up into the crease area. That's pretty. These mattes are incredible. Very pigmented, but also super easy to blend out. I'd wear this even without the shimmers, because I am a fan of an all matte look. But I want to show you guys all the beautiful shimmers in this palette, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going back to my eyeshadow 04 with no added product, and I'm going to blend out the edge, soften this area. For shimmers, we're going to start with the shade Lorelei, or Lorelei, I'm not sure how to say it. I think it's Lorelei though. And just my finger. And we're going to pop this on the third of the eye. And then I was curious to see what this shade, Spellcaster, looks like. Not 100% sure if these shades go together, but let's see. Just putting this in the inner corner-ish area. That's kind of fun, right? It's because when I swatched the Spellcaster shade, I noticed that it had a bit of a green shift to it, even though it looks yellow in the pan. So I thought the green might tie in to the rest of the green mats, but I also wanted to add this Lorelei shade. Some people think it's purple, but to me it's pink, on the pink side. And then I'm going to take what's left on my finger of the Lorelei shade and blend it into the Spellcaster shade, just so there's no like hard line. I just dipped into some more. Let's pat this down. Going back to the Spellcaster shade, what's left over on my finger anyway. Kind of blending the two shimmers together, back and forth. Now I'm just going to take my silicone brush from Amazon, see if we can smooth out this edge a bit. I just dipped straight into the pan with this silicone brush, see if we can add a bit more with some precision. And I'm going to flip the brush over to the other side and dip into the Lorelei shade. See if we can add a bit more intensity. That's working out. And now I'm going back in with the shade Lagoon and my Shoto 00 just to add more of the matte shade at the outer edge and soften the shimmer shade where the shimmer shade starts. Let's see, do I want to bring some of the deeper teal shade into the inner corner? Just again as a little bit of a background to give contrast to the shimmers. Back to my Shoto 04 with no added pigment, so we can soften out the edge. I just did concealer, bronzer, and set this side of my face so we can go ahead and finish up this eye look. I'm going to go in with the shade Lagoon and Refer 21. Starting at the outer corner, I'm just going to pull that across my lower lash line. And then I'm going to take the Shoto 04 with the shade Moonlight and just gently soften out this bottom edge. And now I'm going to take a tiny brush from ColourPop. It's the E29 and some more of the shade Moonlight. And I'm just going to put that right in the inner corner of the lower lash line. Back to the Shoto 04 just to soften it out. I just did my eyeliner and mascara off camera so we can test out the blush and highlighter. I think I'm going to go in with the shade Seashell and I'm going to try out Lagoon. I'm going to go in with an F05 from Singe Beauty. It's pretty. I thought it was more peachy or apricot in the pan. It's looking a little pinky on my skin tone. What do you guys think? You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to go in with my dim light and my Sephora Pro Crease number 19 to soften out the entire edge of the eyeshadow. And doing this step also helps lock the eyeshadow in place, just so you don't get any further creasing, especially in the under eye area. Now we're gonna try out this highlighter. This is the shade Lagoon. can't tell if it just made it muddy or not. Let's blend this out. What do you guys think? Here's look 2 of the Call of the Sirens palette from Gourmande Girls. For look number 3, we're going to start off with this shade called Seahorse. It's the one neutral shade in this colorful palette. I'm going in with a reference number 33. Starting at the outer corner and mapping out my imaginary crease area. This is actually a really nice neutral brown. I quite like this shade. And again, these mattes blend out like a dream. Like, look at that. Wow, wow, wow. Gently pulling it into the inner corner. This shade is even nice as like a one and done. One and done. Super easy breezy look. I'm impressed. Now we're going to dip into the shade Unicorn and a Refer 01. And we're going to pop this in the outer corner. See how these two shade. Oh, I like that too. Wow. They just blend so nicely together, don't you think? Look at how easily that blended out. Blended together. Back to the Refer 33 with no added product. I'm just going to soften out the edge. Let's deepen things up with the shade Femme and a clean Shoto 00. Same thing, we're just going to pat this down in the outer corner. Well, this is pretty too. And then I'm going to pull that across my lash line. This is another matte eye look that I would wear just as the mattes. And now we're going to blend it up into the crease area. Oh, I'm into this. Back to the Refer 33 with no added product. We're going to soften out the edges. For shimmer, we're going to start with the shade Serene or Sirene. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. And just my finger. I almost don't want to disrupt this eye look. I would just wear it just like this, but I want to show you guys all of the shades of this palette. So we're going to go in with this Serene. Oh, that's pretty. At the outer third. This one's a little bit more of a chunkier glitter formula, so you've got to really push it into the skin. And then we're going to go in with the shade Bewitch. Again, just with just my finger. We're going to pop that right here on the, oh wow, that's bright and pretty. Look at that. Now I'm just adding a bit more of the Serene shimmer going over the Bewitch, just so that, same thing, that there's no hard line of where the two shimmers are coming from. And now I'm taking a silicone brush from Amazon to smooth out this top edge of the shimmer. Maybe a little bit more. Now I'm going to use my Rephr 33 with no added product. See if we can soften this inner corner area a bit. Now I'm going back in with my Shoto 00 and the shade Femme. Just at the outer edge of where the shimmer meets. I just did concealer and bronzer, and I set this side of my face so we can finish up this eye look. I'm going to go in with a BK Beauty 204 and the shade Femme. And same thing, starting in the outer corner and pulling it across my lash line, my lower lash line. And then let's take the Rephr 01 and the shade Unicorn, just a little bit though, and gently puff out the lower lash line. I just did eyeliner and mascara off camera, so now we can go in with this blush called Temptress. I'm going to go in again with an F05 from Singe Beauty. Pretty, right? Before I put the highlighter on, let's go in with my dim light and a Sephora Pro Crease number 19. Soften out the edges of the eyeshadow look. The highlighter that we're going to use is this one called Strand. Oh, that's interesting. It has a bit of a gold and green shift to it. Can you guys see? So here's the finished look for look number 3. And there we have it, looks number 2. And 3. Let me know if you guys have a favorite. Actually, I'm going to come in close. If you're into jewel tones, I highly recommend this palette and the face palette. It's been fun. Gourmande Girls has quickly become one of my favorite brands. And just look at what you can create I have two palettes from Gourmande Girls, the Bitten palette and the Call of the Sirens palette, and I love both of them so much. And this wraps up this video. Thank you all so much for spending time with me. I appreciate you all so much. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.
Oh,